all about education and employment in this week-ending installment of Jamaica Magazine. Hello to you and our extended members of the JIS family. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We're going to take a quick break and then return with the news before we get into some other important information.
The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is committed to ensuring that every Jamaican child has the best learning environment to thrive and needs your cooperation to make the education system work successfully. That is why we are ensuring that all Jamaicans have full access to secondary education. Tuition is free of cost to you, but the government can't pay for everything, so do continue with your voluntary contributions. These contributions cover the expenses of co-curricular and sports activities and school development projects. We have also increased our support for PATH students. That's right, PATH students are not expected to make contributions, and they will be provided with 5 days of free lunches. We know that a hungry child cannot learn. The ministry has implemented a literature book rental program, free insurance and IDs for PATH students in high schools. This government cares for you. We believe that every child can learn. Every child must learn.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, September 1. Government has established the first zone of special operations as it steps up the fight to stamp out crime in the country. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement at Jamaica House this morning, explaining that the order was signed today.
I have officially declared the first zone of special security and community development operations. The said zone shall operate for a period of 60 days. The zone is now declared in the Mount Salem area and environs.
Under the law reform, Zones of Special Operations, Special Security and Community Development Measures Act, the Prime Minister is empowered to declare a zone in consultation with the National Security Council. The declaration seeks to contain crime while safeguarding the human rights of residents and promoting community development through social intervention initiatives.
I have designated Major Godfrey Sterling of the JDF and Mr. Kirk Ricketts, Superintendent of Police of the JCF, to be jointly in charge of operations within the zone. I am pleased to indicate that I shall appoint Mr. Omar Sweeney as Deputy Chairman of the Social Intervention Committee that is to be established within 5 working days of the declaration of a zone.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Clifford Blake explains that Mount Salem and its environs was chosen as the first zone of special operations due to intelligence reports as well as crime data pointing to increasing murder rates over the past few years and the existence of 12 major gangs operating in the area.
While some of these gangs are not actually domiciled within this geographic space, they do continue to have significant impact in Mount Salem, and they are spreading their influence right across the St. James community. The objective of the zones of special operation is to disrupt and dismantle these gangs and create a safer community.
Head of the JDF, Major General Rocky Meade, says hundreds of Army and police troops are now deployed in the area and they are fitted with visible name badges and special patches. He outlined the geographic boundaries of the zone. Prime Minister Andrew Holness explains that after 60 days, the situation will be reviewed to assess the impact on the murder rate and a return to public order, as well as whether community engagement and peace-building exercises are successful and entrenched. In response to questions about why the naming of a zone seemed so delayed, Mr. Holness said the government had to be deliberate, adding that the zone is designed to be strategic and not a reflex response to flare-ups. He explains that government was deliberate in its planning and implementation of the new policy to ensure the best chance for success.
Among the issues that we worked through and addressed were the following: additional training in human rights, the use of force and community development initiatives of persons to be deployed as members of the joint force, registration with the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine of weapons.
Prime Minister Holness says other zones of special operations will be declared in short order. In the meantime, the Prime Minister and Security High Command are stressing that there will be full transparency and accountability in Mount Salem and other zones of special operations.
It is our intention to keep the public informed, particularly those law-abiding residents living within the zone that we have first declared.
The Prime Minister will make a statement to Parliament within 14 days. At this morning's briefing, Mr. Holness also stressed that there would be no restrictions on media involvement in the zones of special operations. Members of the press are asked to seek accreditation through the Jamaica Information Service and then make contact with the ground commanders before entering a zone. A Zone of Special Operations Communications Unit will be established to ensure that information coming out of the area is both timely and accurate. The unit will be spearheaded by Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and Major Basil Jarrett of the Jamaica Defence Force. And still on the zones of special operations, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck announced yesterday that government will launch an amnesty for guns and drugs in affected communities. He was speaking at a sensitization session for lay magistrates and justices of the peace on the Zones of Special Operations Act at the ministry's offices. The Justice Minister says once an area is cordoned off, persons in possession of guns, ammunition, drugs and other contraband will be allowed to hand them over without prosecution. The amnesty will run between the first 24 and 48 hours of the declaration of a zone of special operations. Once a zone is declared, Minister Chuck says a meeting will be held with the custos and lay magistrates of the relevant parish, who will then be introduced to the zone commander in charge of operations. The Justice Minister says appropriate technology will be employed in carrying out searches during the period of operation. In other news, the Ministry of Education is assuring that measures are in place to ensure safety and security in schools this academic year. Classes resume on Monday, and Director of Safety and Security in Schools, Assistant Superintendent Coleridge Minto, says the ministry will continue to implement its school-wide positive behavior intervention support program.
This is a team-based framework for creating and sustaining safe and effective schools. It places emphasis on the prevention of problem behavior, the development of pro-social skills, and the use of data-based problem solving for addressing existing behavioral concerns.
While addressing a recent JIS think tank, ASP Minto revealed that the ministry had trained over 2,000 representatives in safety and security, while deans of discipline were trained during their inaugural conference in July.
Plans are now being made to recruit and train 400 young persons to be engaged in the training of security operations and apprentice, and these persons will be placed in the larger primary schools as well as selected high schools.
ASP Minto says the ministry has also completed the procurement and printing of 6,000 safety and security policy guidelines. And finally, Jamaica has signaled its intent to deepen relations with the Republic of Chile with the signing of a cooperation agreement between the two countries' trade commissions. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith and her Chilean counterpart signed the pact on Wednesday in Chile. The agreement will see JAMPRO and Pro-Chile promoting the exchange of goods and services between both countries. At a meeting with the Jamaican diaspora in Chile, Minister Johnson-Smith said increased collaboration between JAMPRO and JBDC was being initiated to make doing business with government easier.
Ultimately, the aim will be, and JAMPRO is working on creating a business portal and more information online so that you don't have to know who to call or find that person who will be able to explain A, B, or C, but it's to have the information available online for all who are interested.
And to further boost the relationship, Minister Johnson-Smith says the government will be reviewing the country's air service agreement with Chile. This, she says, will increase the viability of people-to-people exchanges, tourism, and trade with the South American nation. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
More life.
More memories.
More moments.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases. Get active, eat healthy. You can protect yourself from high blood pressure, obesity, asthma, certain cancer diseases, and more.
Money, space, equipment, food, transportation, all needed for a productive year of learning. The Ministry of Education tells us how government plans to ensure every child is poised to learn in academic year 2017-2018.
This new year will give us the opportunity to consolidate and finalize policy positions to support improved performance and quality in the system.
The government spends over $37,609,624,361 on secondary education. The ministry will also honor its commitment to increasing funding to our primary, all-age, and junior high schools for the academic year 2017-2018 with an operational budget of $1 billion. Schools, however, will continue to be provided with maintenance grant of $50,000 per school along with janitorial grant of $172,000. Parents can contribute to their schools once agreement has been reached and approved by the Board of Governors. These contributions must be made without force.
122 schools, totaling $316 million, were sent to the respective schools for procurement of the relevant critical repairs.
Delivery of furniture to schools, primarily for students, commenced from the second week in July and will be completed by the last week of September.
There are 42 schools that utilize pit latrine. An allocation of $76 million has been made available in the 2017-2018 budget for 35 schools.
This year, approximately $800 million has been spent on books for the new school year. The delivery of books to schools has started and will be completed by October 6, 2017. All books for the first term will be delivered by September 4th, 2017. We will continue to provide funds for the school feeding program to schools directly. The early child institution without any cooking facilities will receive breakfast from the Nutrition Products Limited. Payment for the first time of cooks. Over 913 cooks across the system will now be paid by the ministry. For the first time, we have a massive upgrading of our canteens.
The National Standards curriculum will be fully rolled out in all grades up to grade 9 in September of this year. The alternative pathway for secondary level education will also be rolled out in an additional 56 schools. The Career Advancement Program has been expanded as the flagship program for the creation of an additional 2 years at the secondary level. Over 123 schools have so far been approved, and we have another 33 schools that should commence or completed the process for the commencement of this program in mid-September. The A-STEP program transition will be completed this year as all our students are now being placed in 7-year high schools.
Literature books will be provided for students on the PATH program for the first time, starting with grades 7, 10, and 11. For the first time also, we are now centrally providing insurance payment for students on PATH and those wards of the state. We also rolling out for the first time a pilot rural bus transportation system. There's also an allocation of $2,000 for each PATH student to cover the cost of ID and uniform-related items for students at the all-age and junior high levels as well as their regular high school levels. We've also provided support through book vouchers for the neediest students, up to $2,000 per student. The number of basic schools will be taken over by the ministry as of September, along with 117 basic schools being converted into 56 infant departments. The special education unit will place over 1,474 students at a cost of $57,786,240 for the 2017-2018 school year. These students will be placed in special education facilities.
For 2017, the ministry will continue to place significant emphasis on the establishment of safety and security committees in all our schools. Plans are now being made to recruit and train 400 young persons to be engaged in the training of security operations and apprentice, and these persons will be placed in the larger primary schools as well as selected high schools. The ministry has also trained over 2,000 representatives in safety and security in our schools.
During this 2017-2018 new academic year, together we must focus on sustaining this positive momentum in student achievement.
Preparing for back to school can be a stressful task if not planned carefully. That's why it's important for you to make a list and deal with each task one at a time. Here are a few tips to consider when shopping for books. Before you buy any book, check with friends, neighbors, and family members for ones you can borrow. You should also check with schools, churches, and the community groups that may have a recycle book program, or stores that sell second-hand books. After you have done all that, check the prices at various bookstores in order to get the best price. You could also buy books that will be used early in the school year first, if you can't buy all at once. Act now and avoid the last-minute rush.
We hope by now the back-to-school shopping is completed and you don't need to venture out to stores for any major items this weekend. But if you must, go early and don't forget to inspect the items and collect a receipt for all things purchased. Shopping aside, use the weekend to get your minds and bodies in school mode. Students, you should start retiring to bed at the time you'll need to get up when school's in session. This will allow the body to get adjusted to this new internal clock. Parents, talk with your children about their expectations and goals for the new academic year. Discuss new clubs, activities, or subjects they might want to explore. Whatever you decide, write and post it at a strategic position in the home as a reminder. Setting goals will assist your children develop a clear vision and remain focused throughout the year. One more suggestion, parents. Head to school with your children Monday morning. Take a few minutes to meet their teachers and ensure everyone is on the same page about the way forward. To all going back to school, have a great year as we seek to achieve a productive society on the path to being the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
If you still haven't gotten all your child's textbooks or want to help others with theirs, the JIS Book Exchange program remains open. Donate, exchange, or share textbooks that you no longer need, whether they are new or used. For infant, primary, high, or even university students, exchange or share your books. Pass them on to those that need them. Drop them off at GIS's head office on 58A Halfway Tree Road or email pr@gis.gov.jm to make arrangements for drop-off. For further information, contact the Public Relations and Marketing Department at 9291919 or 926359024. Join the mission and be a part of the JIS Book Exchange initiative.
You've got to start at ABC.
The start of school is always a good time to reflect on your education journey and its ultimate goal, a career, not just a job that allows you to earn and find personal fulfillment. If you've already discovered your passion, congratulations. For those still searching, you may try looking to the high seas and a career steeped in the business of luxury.
It's a very vibrant market right now.
Career Talk has emphasized this reality before, but it bears repeating. The maritime industry offers up a wealth of opportunities for employment options.
I chose it because I really like it. I tried other schools before, and to be very honest, they weren't as exciting. The thrill wasn't there, so I ended up doing this.
Today we zone in on some of the more common onboard ship jobs that are available and what you need to know to get started. If you're just starting out in the maritime industry, this is the bottom rung on the ladder.
That's one of the lowest ranks on board merchant marine vessels, and they deal with mainly deck work from the deck department, and they have no sea time and are in charge of roles such as watchkeeping, keeping a gangway watch, chipping and painting the deck, and basic ship maintenance.
But there is ample opportunity to work your way up.
You can move all the way to captain if you are good enough. And as an OS, you earn anywhere between $800 US per month up to $1,500 US per month, depending on the vessel you're on and what company you're working with.
And FYI, there is no specific training or certification needed for this.
No, just basic training to go on board, like life-saving techniques as they're practicing behind me right now, and similar courses, basic first aid.
The able-bodied seaman, AB, is just a step above ordinary and isn't exactly an indication of your physical condition, although just about every job on board a ship calls for being in good shape.
He does the same thing an OS would do, except he is certified and he would have had more experience and sea time. He gets more pay, of course, so he gets anywhere between $1,500 US to $1,000 to $2,000 US per month.
The junior engineer is at the lowest level of the engineering department but performs critical tasks nonetheless.
When you finish your training at the Maritime Institute or any other institute worldwide, and then you start your navigation, you have no sea time, but you like to become an officer. You have to first work as an apprentice engineer. In this position, you typically earn, well, $1,500 to $3,000, depending on the vessel and the company you're working with.
And then there's the licensed engineer.
His job is ensuring the operation of the entire engine room of the vessel. He is the equivalent of the captain for the engine department. So he runs the engine department of the vessel. So the chief officer is the right hand of the captain. So the captain has overall responsibility of the vessel. The chief officer is in charge of the deck department. The chief officer is in charge of the bosun, all the navigational officers, and everyone else that works on the deck. He gives them the daily roster of duties, yes. He's in charge of the navigation of the ship and its safety.
Now, think about a crew of men and women of whatever size working on a ship for months. What would happen if they are not fed often and well? Ship owners know that is not a scenario you want played out, which is why they hire stewards.
That is the chief cook on board the vessel. He's in charge of preparing all the meals. He would have a team at times, depending on the size of the vessel. He would normally have a mess man or maybe 2 mess men, depending on the size of that vessel. His earning potential is anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000.
Remember, whichever maritime job you do seek out, there are some constants.
It comes with a high level of discipline. It comes with commitment.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a
kids, for you and I, save kids' lives. Make the road safe, whether day or night, for pedestrians, passengers, cars and bikes. Save a life for the kids, for you and I, save kids' lives.
Hey man, it's our job to keep the road them safe. Have to take care of the youth them so we know them safe. And obey the road code, no race. No bother with the speeding case. Make face and check your light them at your tires and brakes. Riders on the pillions who left the helmet. Aye, put on the cell phone, no send no text. No matter what color they on your plate.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt for keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road.
Hey, follow me, well everybody drive good and walk good. Then teach the youth them how to cross good. I beg you obey the road signs, park good. I put the young ones in a car seats, all good. And everybody drive good and walk good. And we say young and old, I beg you cast good. Remember the dark clothes at night, that is not good. From you I use up the sidewalk, it's all good.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you can save a life. When you're on the road, when you're on the road, I beg you please be safe. Wear your seatbelt to keep you safe, and make sure your helmet's in place when you're on the road. When you're on the road, when you're on the road.
The magazine has run out of time, but there are many ticks left on the clock for learning. And remember, this can happen in and outside of the classroom. One good source of information is the JIS website, so steer your browsers to jis.gov.jm. While you're online, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. We still read your emails, so drop us a line at the address on screen. I am Adrian Atkinson. Have yourselves a great weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.